The beginning of a brand new year can be a wonderful time for reflection and for both parents and children. Child development and parenting expert Joani Geltman joins us today to talk about how parents and their kids can start fresh in the new year. Joani, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Ashley.
Good to have you back on the couch.
Love to be here.
So this is actually the perfect time of year. If 2012 was kind of a rocky time, relationships between parents and kids, it's a good time to start fresh. Your first tip is to evaluate.
Yeah, I think, you've had the first half of the year go by with the school. You've had wake-up time issues. Maybe you had homework time issues. Maybe you had attitude issues. So I think it's nice to maybe take each one of your kids out separately, go out for a little ice cream or a little frozen yogurt and say, what did you think worked for you around school and our relationship? And evaluate yourself as a parent. Say, what do you think I could have done differently that maybe got in your way this year? And then say to your child, what do you think you could have done differently to have made the first half of the year go better? And take responsibility as a parent for change as well.
And just have that conversation
totally,
together.
and make it fun. Like go out for ice cream, make it a casual event.
Right, start off the year on a good foot. And next is to predict.
Yeah, so then you can say, what do you think could potentially happen, the rest of the year? What are some things coming up that maybe make you anxious? What are some things coming up that you're looking forward to? So think about what's coming up between now and May. And same thing for parents. You can say, it's darker in the mornings. It might be harder for you to get up. I know it's hard for me to get up in the morning. Or, you have a new sport that takes up a lot of your time. How do you think you're going to fit your homework in? So think about, don't wait for a crisis to happen.
Yeah.
Predict. I think a lot of times we forget to think ahead. It's kind of like what you were just talking about with the marriage vows. Sometimes we just let things happen and then we have to fix it later.
And teaching your kids to do that at a young age, then they can kind of look ahead and have a good handle on it before.
Totally. I think the younger the better. You can do it with a first grader. They understand these words.
And also, it's important to strategize as well.
Absolutely. So the strategy is, okay, so what are we going to do? Don't just say it's going to be a problem. Say, okay, how am I going to do this?
Right.
So if it's darker in the mornings, maybe you're going to say, we're not going to close the shades at night now. We're going to let more light in. Maybe that will help you sort of, wake up a little bit better in the day. Or, we knew that you're going to have more homework coming at the end of the year because you have, MCAS tests, or you have something coming up that so let's come up with a different strategy for how you do your homework so you make time for the extra work that you have to do.
So sometimes when that stress comes on kids, they don't necessarily know how to tell their parents, this is what I'm feeling. So if you predict it, you kind of avoid that stress from happening.
And then you have a plan.
At the time. Yes,
and also then
exactly.
you have a plan. And parents can do that too. They can say, I get really anxious when XYZ happens. Here's what I think I'm going to do. Modeling, modeling, modeling. Don't just tell tell your kids that they need to do this kind of system. You do it too.
And be prepared,
and
right.
Be prepared.
And last but certainly not least is to commit to it.
How are you going to follow through? It's the follow through. Everybody has all these. This happens with New Year's resolutions all the time. You say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, but then there's no real commitment. So what I suggest is at the end of every week, evaluate, how did we do on this new plan? Is it working? Did we not follow through on it? What's gotten in the way? So that you take time really at the end of every week to figure out whether with the new changes that you've put in, maybe it's a new bedtime, maybe it's a different strategy for getting up in the morning, maybe it's a new strategy for homework time. And then at the end of the week, you can say, what, nothing really changed. I didn't really follow through on it. And again, you keep up with it rather than waiting for the crisis to happen and say, well, we put this in place and it didn't work. And it's like, I get it. It didn't work because you didn't talk about it. You didn't plan for it.
So it's these 4 words parents should remember: evaluate, predict, strategize, commit. And it's a great way to start off the new year with your kids.
I think so.
Great. Joani, it's always so nice to have you here. I'm sure our viewers really appreciated your tips. Good to have you.
Thanks, Ashley.